Welcome to the Spirit Wisdom Reset podcast. In today's episode, we are talking about changing vibrations. My name is Ujo, and this is my co host, Mayette.
Hey y'all, hey. I hope y'all's week has been well. I hope everything's going wonderfully for you. As my sister said, we're going to talk about changing vibrations. Changing vibrations. There we go. So, what do we mean when we say that? Like changing vibrations. How do you do that? Just before this episode, my sister and I had some things that needed to be discussed. We made a vow to ourselves. And she reminded me of that vow. And in that was the beginning of the shift. How do you even know when you need to shift it? When it has an effect on you, I think. When it has a type of effect that could cause possibly a low vibration, shift that. Shift that. Shift your mind, shift your thoughts, see how perhaps everything that took place was a requirement
Mhm.
and shift and lean into that vibration, because if it is a requirement, that means that it is something that is necessary for your evolution. It's necessary, and you'll feel that vibration. You can always tell. You can always tell. So you'll know that it's time to shift in that moment. Which what say you?
Changing vibrations, there definitely is a level of awareness when it comes to how you feel physically and emotionally and mentally. Like, do you start to feel bogged down? Sometimes there's certain times of the day, sometimes it's an interaction with someone, sometimes it's just the overall like your just battery is running low just from especially towards the end of the week, or depending on what you have going on, and it can really just change your like how you feel and your mood,
Yeah.
and also your spirit. Like, you just don't feel as bright, you don't feel as expansive. And so when it comes to changing vibrations, it's all about like, if it's taking you out of your zone, that zone of like excellence, that zone of productivity, that zone of joy, right? Just being your best self, and you just feel that weight, and it just feels like it's just holding you back or slowing you down, then that
Yeah.
is a sign for me anyways. It's just like, okay, I need to do something different in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Because it's when you're in that moment, all types of things start to present themselves, and then you can see what is yours and what is not yours.
Hmm.
One of the For me, one of the things is ensuring that I don't try and change or alter my vibration out of fantasy, but out of true reality, and looking at the thing and be like, okay, well, this is where I don't, this doesn't belong to me, rather. And I'm not going to attach myself to this. So I'm going to just shift and alter and move. But if it's something that I need to see, I'm going to take care of it. And it's imperative to take care of it before I do try and change it. Because if I don't, what's going to happen is it's going to travel on up with me. So that's one of the things I do. I look at, if it's something in there for me, catch it real quick and go on move. It don't have to be long, drawn out process. It can be swift and quick. And it can be swift and quick only if people are honest with themselves. Because if they're
Hmm.
not honest with themselves, they will be in denial. And it's like they'll never see it. It's not until that moment of honesty that they see something. And even that is a shift in vibration.
Yeah.
Even that is changing vibrations. Even that,
Hmm.
because you're changing a thought pattern from one frequency to the next in order to be able to perceive that. So if
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think that, especially as I was saying earlier, with the situation where we ended up changing our vibration, and it can show up as laughter, It can show up as, through dance, through art. It can show up as, let's see, gardening for those who garden, riding bikes, hiking. It can show up as a plethora of things, creating music, you know, writing poetry. There's so many different
Breathing,
things that can show up at breathing.
a deep cleansing breath, like
Just
just
yes,
releasing that, like, oh,
yes,
and doing that a few times, rinse and repeat on
yes,
that one. Some people, and I notice
yes.
when um, when my vibration feels low or it feels just kind of off kilter,
Mhm.
I'm not breathing. Like I feel more contracted. I feel like I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, just feel
Uptight,
tense.
tense.
Yeah.
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 Mhm,
And I notice
mhm.
I hold my
Yeah.
breath a lot more, or I feel just take those like really short breaths. It's not really those deep
Mhm,
cleansing breaths. And that's
mhm,
another sign. And, especially I think back to so many of the clients and people that I've worked with over the years where they
mhm,
operate on a high level of stress and
mhm,
that's their baseline is operating at that
mhm,
level, and how that
mhm,
plays such a huge role in your vibration and your
mhm.
physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And so when you're so used to operating at that certain stress level, how
Yeah,
just something as simple as breathing can be so profound in those moments when you're so used to
yeah,
operating at a high stress level baseline. Yeah.
yeah, and what's so funny is, we take ourselves there because we want to accomplish so much because it somehow validates us.
Hmm.
And if we, if we just kind of look at where we are and being honest, that vibration shifts, it raises, more things come into your awareness, and you you basically understand how you got there, and then you'll know exactly what frequency you need to raise your vibration to. Like for us, we needed
Hmm.
laughter. We didn't
Hmm.
discuss it. We didn't say, "Hey, girl, we finna go ahead and laugh real quick." Our innate selves, our higher selves, said they need laughter in this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we
Hmm.
had to shift that vibration. It was something within it we knew that it needed to be shifted. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? We heard something in there. I can't even pinpoint it. I just know it just started happening. And before we got on here, y'all, mm, 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 it took us a good probably how many minutes?
At,
15,
at least
20.
15, yeah, at least 15
Okay.
minutes.
We were cracking up. We couldn't even catch our composure, but we needed to raise our vibrations. We need to change our vibrations, because we want what's best for us, and we know that you can operate when you're in a vibration of thickness and frustration and tense. You can't really function properly like that.
Yeah.
So you
I
need to
think
learn how to change it. Go ahead.
another point is we talked a lot about like changing vibrations from like this like lower level vibration, right, and raising that. Then there's also that other level of you want to be able to maintain your vibration or go even higher, right,
Higher. Yeah.
become more expansive. And
Hmm.
so that's just as important too, in recognizing there are times where you need to expand and ascend, or insert whatever term. I like to be mindful about the terms, because it's not, oh, vibration isn't only about a high and low thing, right? um,
Right. Right.
there's so much more, and directionality, like, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Hmm.
When it comes to
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
this realm, and the linear stuff is so played out,
Yeah.
but that's another.
Hmm.
but 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 yeah, like sometimes you're at a good place,
Yeah.
but then it's like, don't, like, sometimes you need more. You need to expand where you're at. Like, you're in a good place, you're in a
Yeah.
good vibration, but you're playing it small. And you gotta,
Evergreen and growing and never ripe and rotten.
come
Ooh
on now.
wee.
Woo.
Evergreen and growing and never ripe and rotten. evergreen and growing and never ripe and rotten. That vibration just gonna do exactly what my sister just said it was gonna do. It's going to take you to a place of learning and knowing how to maintain it, and then also push you toward that expansiveness of it.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't
I'm
just
so
stay
happy
where
we
you
changed
are.
our vibrations. That's right. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm
Yeah.
happy we laughed. We had some gut busting laughs. I'm happy. You know
We
what?
did.
We're gonna let the VIP see that, right? Let the
Yeah.
VIP
Yeah.
people
Definitely.
see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now y'all can't hear some of the stuff we said because that's personal podcast business. But the other
Mhm.
stuff, yeah, I think they'd get a kick out of that.
Yeah. I think, an important aspect is, especially when you're in a good place in your life, and you've done the work and you're in a good place. It's like, no, that's not the end. Don't get comfortable
Right.
there.
Right.
And getting comfortable is, you can feel good and that's still not enough, right? Like, you
Yeah.
can even feel even better, right? So, and once you reach that new baseline, um, and so I talked earlier about, like, high stress being a baseline for a lot of people. But then when you come out
Mm-hmm.
of that and you get to a point where it's like, okay, your baseline changes, then
Mm-hmm.
eventually you're going to have to grow and expand from that. Like
Right.
and you want to explore that,
Yeah. You're
and
learning a new
through
way.
that. Yeah, because it's almost like, oh, well, everything's great, and that should be enough. It's like, well, um, is everything's great in just your inner circle great? Is everything
Right.
great? Like, you can go bigger. You can go, um, to, like, within your community, right? Within
Mm-hmm.
and so by expanding, this could be, again, in different realms: physical,
Right.
mental expansion, spiritual expansion,
Mm-hmm.
emotional expansion. So it can show up
Right.
differently and simultaneously, you
Right.
know,
At the same
uh,
time.
at the same time. And a lot of times it does happen that way. There's always kind of like this mirror effect where at least two different aspects is showing up, in the
Oh my
physical and
God.
maybe the mental, or in the emotional
Yeah.
and the spiritual, or whatever. So,
Mhm.
that's where some of those synchronicities come in, of like, okay, well, um, like, we almost feel like we have to, the only time change is required and is when something is wrong. And it's like,
Right. No, it changes required all the time. It's the only thing
yeah,
it's the only constant thing. That's what they say, change is the only constant because
yeah.
everything changing all the time. And you have to be able to flow in your life as your life flows with you. And when I say that, I mean to say that one minute you could be smiling and the next minute you could be crying. The objective is to keep on going. Because it's
Hmm.
gonna bring some more changes too. And the more you get a hold to that, your vibration, your that's the part of maintaining the vibration that she was speaking on. Once you get a gist of that, you'll start to do the things that are necessary to maintain them. You will recognize when something is going to kill your peace and you will dismiss it. You won't even entertain it in the beginning. Okay.
Hmm.
How about if you decide that you want to do something and you realize that head on that what you wanted to do was going to benefit you in a way, but not in the way in which is required for you to have that steady state of progression. You can halt it right before you can halt it. You can see why you were going to choose it. If you need to do something about it, do it. If not, keep on moving. But that is maintaining. And you'll find that you'll do that with everything. It'll just be something that's done. It will become second nature. It's not a chore. You don't look at it as a bad thing. You look at it as a way of flourishing. You look at it as a way or the fuel to the vehicle expansion.
Hmm.
Okay, let the vehicle be expansion, and you need fuel for it. This is the fuel for it, and it'll be something that you would want to do. You won't care about what is going on. You'll ensure everything that you can to prevent any damage from your end to anyone else's, but you're gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna keep on going. There's nothing you
Mhm.
can do, but keep on going. If you have that type of mindset and you have been fueling the vehicle expansion, you've been fueling that vehicle, and you've been maintaining it, then you don't have any. You that's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do, and change. It's simple as with changing your vibration.
Yeah. And when you know that, when you recognize that you can do that, and you
Mm-hmm.
can like just do it without having to, you can do it intuitively, you can do it intentionally, and you can
Mm-hmm.
do it without something being wrong. You can do it when
Mm-hmm.
everything is great because you just want other people to experience that same thing. It's like, oh, let me like this is a great
Yes.
area that I'm in, and I want other people to
Mm-hmm.
experience that. I feel like, this is where community comes in, um,
Yeah.
and that part is important too, especially depending on like how you show up in your life, the role that you play in, the various roles that you play in your life, like and where that can show up. But then also be
Mm-hmm.
mindful of how other people can can change your vibration too, or being in certain environments, right? So it's not even just about you changing your vibration for yourself if it's low, or if you're trying to maintain to expand, but then there's also that aspect of like, when you're in certain spaces and certain environments or around certain people,
Mm-hmm.
um like, how you feeling? Have you had like
Right.
sometimes,
Have to take an
you
assessment,
know
nigga. Take an assessment. If every time you leave that person, you
yeah,
got a headache or you in a bad mood and you know you showed up in a good space, hey, it's their vibration. Definitely.
yeah, yeah. And some people don't
Definitely. It's the
recognize
vibration.
when they are, um when they don't recognize that other people are doing that. Some people don't recognize that they're the vampires. They're the ones like having that influence on others. But that's a
Uh-huh.
whole nother that's a
Uh-huh.
whole nother episode, and maybe we'll talk about that
Whole nother.
on another episode if that's something you're interested in hearing more about, or if you want to hear more about, this topic of changing vibrations and want us to break that down a bit further, then definitely let us know. You can connect with us on our YouTube channel, and you can comment on the video version of this podcast, or you can connect with us on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and you can share your thoughts. And you can also connect with us on our VIP list, and you can, share your input there, and you'll also get some exclusive footage from us. So, any
Yes.
final
It's
thoughts?
been a pleasure. And it was a pleasure. This episode was a pleasure, honey, because we changed our vibrations to actually get through this. Okay. So this was a beautiful thing. This was a beautiful thing to talk about the subject in which we just experienced.
Yes.
How about that? I am Mayette. This is Ujo. We love y'all and we out of here. Till next time. Peace,
Bye.
peace.